Today we're talking about partial structure loss, what it means when only some of your data's shape goes missing, why it quietly undermines analysis and models, and practical steps to detect, repair, and prevent it. This is a hands-on, example-first walkthrough, friendly and clear, so whether you're new to data or running production systems, you'll get useful actions. Let's begin with the idea. Full structural collapse is when guarantees vanish entirely. Partial structure loss is subtler. Some parts of the schema or some fields stop behaving as expected, while others remain fine. The dataset looks mostly intact at a glance, but critical pieces are absent, malformed, or incomplete. That subtlety is what makes partial loss dangerous. It produces plausible but wrong answers. A quick example. Imagine a product catalog. Most records still have product ID, name, and category, but price is missing for a subset coming from a supplier feed. Analytics on average price quietly skew down, promotions target the wrong items, and revenue forecasts underperform. Nothing throws a hard error, just degraded outcomes. Another common pattern is partially populated nested data. Customer events arrive with user.id present, but user.email null for some sources. So personalization pipelines silently ignore those users. Why does partial loss happen? There are a few common causes. Intermittent producer failures or network hiccups can create partial writes where only some columns persist. Evolving schemas and optional fields lead teams to treat new fields as non-essential, and they get omitted. Ingestion transforms or filters can drop fields accidentally. Observant integrations or API version mismatches often send only a subset of expected fields. Finally, backfills and partial migrations can leave historical holes if not applied consistently. What makes partial loss particularly pernicious is its silence. Pipelines succeed, tests pass, dashboards still render, but decisions are subtly biased. Models trained on partially missing features underperform in production. Analytical joins return fewer matches. Aggregation keys produce wrong denominators. And because errors are partial, root cause analysis stretches across sources and time windows. So how do you detect partial structure loss early? Start with completeness metrics at the field level. Monitor null rates and unusual shifts in the percentage of populated values for critical fields. Not just averages, but conditional completeness. Track cardinality and uniqueness trends for keys. Sudden drops suggest lost keys. Use schema profilers that report field-level presence by source and by time window, and surface increases in unknown or other categories for enumerations. Lineage is helpful. When a downstream metric shifts, trace it upstream to see where fields changed. Finally, add simple sanity checks in your pipelines. Reject or quarantine records missing a required subset of fields instead of silently accepting them. When partial loss has occurred, follow a pragmatic repair pattern. Isolate, recover, and harden. Isolate by identifying affected sources, time ranges, and consumers. Quarantine suspect records to stop further damage. Recover by replaying the ingestion from source if possible, rerunning backfills or reconstructing missing values via joins with alternate sources. Use conservative imputation when you must. Flag imputed values so downstream systems treat them appropriately. Always preserve an audit trail of repairs so you can roll back if needed. Hardening prevents recurrence. Make the most meaningful fields required at the validation boundary. Not every field needs to be mandatory, but keys and business-critical attributes should be. Implement atomic writes where possible, or add write markers that indicate whether a record is complete. Add back pressure and retries for flaky producers, so partial writes don't sneak through. Focused. Version your APIs and include contract tests that run in CI, verifying that producers still deliver the expected fields. Provide shared ingestion libraries that automatically validate and normalize records so every team doesn't re-implement the same checks. Operational practices matter too. Publish data quality SLAs for domain entities, designate owners for important tables, and keep runbooks for partial loss incidents, who to notify, how to isolate, and how to backfill. Visualization and alerting are critical. Surface field-level completeness on your dashboards and alert when a critical field's completeness drops by an unusual margin. Finally, adopt a conservative design posture for pipelines. Fail loud, not silent. Cautionary, quarantine incomplete records, surface meaningful errors, and prefer graceful degradation over silent acceptance. When imputation is used, label the values and track their provenance so analysts and models can factor that uncertainty in. To wrap up, partial structure loss is common, quiet, and costly, but it's manageable. Detect it with field-level completeness and lineage checks. Repair by isolating and replaying or carefully reconstructing data, and prevent it using validation-at-ingest, contract tests, atomic or marked writes, and clear ownership. If you take one thing away, measure completeness per field and alert on sudden changes. It's the fastest way to find this kind of problem. See you in the next one.